What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here with another video today. And today we're bringing you our Ohio State preview prediction video. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Help us hit that 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. We are about 50 away. So help us hit that goal and get to our monetization point. But let's go ahead and look at Ohio State and jump into today's video. So they returned 7 starters on offense, 5 on defense. The big position missing is, of course, having to replace C.J. Stroud at quarterback. Kyle McCord will step into that role. I would imagine he's going to be pretty good, to say the least. And then you got a top 10, 3 top 10 receivers, in my opinion, in Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, and Julian Fleming. And then you throw in the backups who are pretty solid as well: Jaden Ballard, Xavier Johnson, Carnell Tate. So very talented team. And then you get to the running backs, so Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams, incredible running backs as well. This is going to be a scary offense. The question for Ohio State in terms of playoff and conference championship is the defense. How does the defense play? Last year, the defense, had its moments of struggle for sure, where they really struggled, and they're going to need that defense this year to really step up for them. Last year, when you look at the rankings within the conference, they were 6th in the Big Ten in scoring defense, 7th in rush defense, 4th in pass defense, and 6th in total defense. Not terrible, but in terms of, like I said, getting to the college football playoff and winning a national championship, even winning your conference, you're going to need to be a little bit better than that. You look at them offensively, though: 1st in scoring offense, 3rd in rush offense, 1st in passing offense, and 1st in total offense. I expect those numbers to be the same. I expect them to be the best offense in the Big Ten, the most explosive offense, one of the most explosive offenses in the country. But again, that all kind of depends on Kyle McCord. But these receivers, I really think I could go out there and throw for 3,000 yards with these receivers. I mean, they're going to be wide open. One of the 3 of them is going to be wide open almost every single play between Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, and Julian Fleming. One of the 3 will be wide open basically every single play. And Cade Stover, the tight end, isn't bad either. He's a pretty solid tight end that they have there coming back as well. But let's go ahead and jump into the schedule part for them. So last year they went 11-2 overall, 8-1 in the Big Ten. They have lost to Michigan the last 2 years in a row, so we'll see if that changes this year for them. You look at this year's schedule. They have a few tough games. They go to Notre Dame. They go to Wisconsin, although I'm not sure that one's as tough as a game as it could be. And then they go on the road to Michigan. So those are the 3 kind of tough games that I could see them losing this season. But let's go ahead and get started. So week 1, they go on the road to Indiana. This is a win. This is not the Indiana we're talking about from 2021. This is a pretty sorry Indiana team, a team that's going to win 2 or 3 games this year max. I have Ohio State absolutely crushing them and blowing them out of the water like they did last year, 56-14. Then they get Youngstown State at home. I feel bad for the Penguins. They are going to get absolutely killed in this game. Ohio State may drop 70 points on them if they want to, like they did against Toledo last year, 77-21. But Youngstown State isn't even going to score 21 points in that game. It's just going to be an insane beatdown of the Penguins. Then they get Western Kentucky at home. I have this game as a win. This is one I could see them being pushed in for a half. Western Kentucky is going to bring in a very good offense. So depending on how this Ohio State defense plays, particularly in the secondary, this is a team that could put 20 points on Ohio State in the first half if they're not careful. I don't think they will. I think Ohio State will blow them out and win pretty big and give up 20 or less points in the total game. But don't sleep on Western Kentucky being able to push Ohio State for about for a quarter or 2, because they definitely could. Then Ohio State gets the big game where they go on the road to Notre Dame. I have this game as a win. I think Ohio State is a better team than Notre Dame. I think they have more offensive weapons. I think the defense is gonna be good enough to hold up. They beat Notre Dame last year 21-10 at home in week 1. I think that they beat them by a little bit more. this year. Um, I think they beat them 31-10, something like that, 28-10, somewhere into that range. I just think that Ohio State is better coached. They have a better offense for sure, and I think the defenses are pretty even and pretty similar as far as that goes. But I just think Ohio State is the better football team, more talented team, and more explosive offense. Then they get Maryland at home. I have this game as a win. This could be a bit of a closer game. Last year, Ohio State won on the road at Maryland 43-30. I expect a similar outcome in this game, about the same score differential as well in Ohio State's favor. I think they win against the Terrapins again. Then they go on the road to Purdue. I have this game as a win. Purdue's in a tough spot. New quarterback, new everything. Head coach, coordinators, new everything. And so I mean, even if they had the old head coach, the old quarterback, I still, would have them losing this game. Purdue losing this game. But when you add all that in, I think it's going to be a complete beatdown. 49-10, something like that. Just an incredible beatdown of Ohio State on Purdue. Then they get Penn State at home. This is one that could be, a tough game and one that they potentially could lose at home. Last year they beat Penn State on the road 44-31. I do think Penn State will be a little bit of a better football team this year, but I don't think that Penn State is going to be able to get the win. I think Ohio State wins this game. I think they win it by, 10 to 17 points, somewhere in that range. I just think they have too much offense for Penn State to handle. And I feel like the young guys for Penn State, particularly Drew Aller, are going to get shaky in these big games because they don't have the experience that Ohio State has. I know Kyle McCord hasn't played a whole lot, but he is a junior. So he's been in the system for a while. He's familiar with it, and he'll be on the home team. It's not a tough road environment for him to go to. Then they go on the road to Wisconsin. I have this game as a win. I think the Badgers are a good team, but they're still not there to where they can compete with Ohio State. Last year, Wisconsin lost 52-21 to Ohio State. I see a similar outcome in this game. I think it'll be about the same score. Again, not a good showing for the Badgers at home, but look out, Ohio State fans, because Luke Fickell and Wisconsin are building something. And if he stays there long enough, he will win a national championship at Wisconsin. So look out. Then they go on the road to Rutgers. I have this game as a win. This is a team that they beat 49-10 last year. I think that they will beat them by a similar margin, if not more. Rutgers just cannot compete with Ohio State. They don't have pieces defensively or offensively to compete. I think it's going to be an absolute beatdown. Then they get Michigan State at home. I have this game as a win. They beat Michigan State 49-20 on the road last year. Again, I see a similar outcome in this year's matchup. I don't think that Michigan State can hang with Ohio State. This isn't the Michigan State of 2 years ago. This is the Michigan State that went, that had a pretty tough season last year and went 5-7 overall, 3-6 in the Big Ten. I see a similar outcome or a similar schedule outcome for Michigan State in this one, and I see Ohio State beating them by a similar margin. Then they get Minnesota at home. I have this game as a win, although this game could be a little bit closer than people expect. Minnesota has a very good quarterback whose name I cannot pronounce. They also have a very good receiving core. Now, nowhere near the receiving core of Ohio State, but a good receiving core and can attack a weak secondary if Ohio State's defense doesn't improve from last year. Minnesota could, score some points in this game. Now, with that said, I still think Ohio State wins by 2+ touchdowns in this game, but it could be closer for, a half or 2.5, 3/4. It could be a closer game. Then the big game to close out the season, they go on the road to Michigan. I have this game as a loss for Ohio State. I just think Michigan I think both of these offenses can score at similar rates in different ways, of course, but in similar rates. And I think Michigan's defense is much better than Ohio State's defense, not to mention this game is at Michigan. I think as of right now, Harbaugh is a better head coach than Ryan Day is. He's done more, he's won more. than Ryan Day has. Um, and so I get Ryan Day had success a little bit earlier in his career. He's made the playoff a little bit more than Michigan has, but I think as of this moment right now, career wise, yes, Ryan Day has been a better head coach. But coming into this season, I think Harbaugh's in a better spot as a head coach and is a little bit of a better head coach than Ryan Day is right now. Also, Ryan Day will be coaching with pressure, so that could change the outcome of this game. Just with the fact that Ryan Day, it could lose the game for Ohio State, but it could also win it for him, because if Ryan Day loses his third year in a row to Michigan, he could very well be on the hot seat and potentially fired if he loses again this in 2024. So this is a big game for Ohio State, bigger than just a rivalry game. This is your head coach's potential future. But still a good season for Ohio State. I have them finishing at 11-1 overall, 8-1 in the conference. Could definitely still make the playoff. They definitely could with 11-1. With their only loss to a team in Michigan that I have going undefeated. So they definitely could make the playoff still. And I think that this is a team that could potentially make the national championship depending on how the quarterback plays. But that wraps up today's video. I appreciate all of you guys watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you have Ohio State's record finishing as. I appreciate all of you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you.